And there we are.
Look at that. It's
Hello.
as if it was planned. For the first time ever, Mikey and Vinnie come on the air at 10:10.
When
Write
I
this
say
down.
10:10, I mean 10:17. No.
Approximately 10:10, we always say. Exactly 10:10. We can say it, it just never happens. But today, against all odds, and after telling our best stories off the air as usual, we're on at 10:10 to say hello to it's a fractious, freaky, uh, full,
Friday.
full-breasted Friday.
A full-breasted Friday. I've never heard you pull that one out before.
No,
A
that
full-breasted.
came from my suppressed childhood.
Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't suppress that part of my childhood, unfortunately. Oh,
Anyway,
man.
it's a freaky, it's fractious, and it's Friday.
It's a freaky Fractious Friday. He's Michael Knight, and he's down where Superman is buried in Pasadena, California.
Down here, we say Vinny's up there. He's in Seattle, Washington, and together every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, this is exactly where we are doing exactly this thing. And you're invited to join us. We're available on nowhere in the world. It's the rarest pod talk that you'll ever come across.
Yeah,
Not available on Facebook. You can find us there, but we're not available. Not available on YouTube.
To a degree.
You can find us on YouTube, but we are unavailable. So come on by, watch any show you want. Go back 6 months and see what we were doing then.
Oh, go back. I think there's probably by now, I don't know if you go to Facebook, because every one of these shows, except for one or two, which I forgot to hit the record button, has been broadcast.
So it didn't record, I guess.
Well, I didn't forget to hit the record button. I forgot to hit the put us on the air button, put us on YouTube, or put us on Facebook button. And I have a big sign here that says on Zoom, hit record. But one day I didn't look at the sign. I just, sometimes you just.
One thing I like about hitting the button is we're connected everywhere at once to the entire universe as we know it, and it still doesn't help. All the advice we've given over the past 3 years has not fallen on deaf ears. It just hasn't been utilized in the proper way. If it had, there would not be a Ron DeSantis to deal with under these days. He'd still be alive. I'm not saying he would be wiped out.
Right.
No, I'm saying that he would
kill the guy, but
he would be innocent, and he would be muddling around in his office, and people would say, "Oh, that's Governor DeSantis. Don't pay any attention to him. He's touched."
What is his story? I mean, we know his story.
What about the Jimmy Hoffa go-go boots?
Yeah,
I still haven't had that explained to me.
He wants to be president.
Yes,
I don't think there's anybody in the world that doubts that this guy wants to be president. But he dresses like he buys his clothes at TJ Maxx.
Robert Hall.
I mean, I've never seen a suit that fits him right. I mean,
that's the Jimmy Hoffa part of him. He's rough-hewn.
Yeah, which I think if you're going to run for a high political office like governor, I mean, Florida, okay, you can get away with it. You can put on a Hawaiian shirt and get away with it. But when you're running for president across the country,
get a tailor to be with you for 10 minutes, and so the suit fits if you're a difficult fit.
Yeah.
You should know this by now. How do you want to look on TV? Do you want to look like a bumpkin? Because that's exactly what you look like. An uninformed, rough-hewn bumpkin that carries with him none of his Harvard education. He didn't learn anything, and Harvard has a lot to answer for. His attitude
really, in that case, he'd have been better off joining Saturday Night Live or something than being the governor.
You're not going to tell us what to do with our lives and our children and our education. No, you're not, because I am. I'm going to tell everybody what to do with their lives, their children, and their education. And I'll be right back with more information on that soon. Universities, grade schools, librarians, pay attention. I'm about to issue an edict. Here's how we're going to do it in Florida from now on. This is what education amounts to. This is what history is about. These are the few changes that I've made, and I did it ahead of time without asking permission. So just supplement this into your teaching plan today, or be responsible for the consequences if I come looking for you. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm your governor.
Yeah, yeah. And then next to that, you also piss off the one of the biggest employers in your state, somebody that had really, if you think about it, Disney has taken Florida from being a backwater where you go down and throw a couple of cases of oranges into your car
There
and
was
drive
nothing in
back
there.
up north, go to the beach,
Right. There
spend
was
a
nothing
month
to see in
down there.
Orlando. Nobody went to Orlando to see Orlando.
It was the coast, man. It was
Yeah.
the coast, and that was it. Nobody, you're right. Nobody went inland either way. The central part of Florida was there was nothing there,
It was a way to get to the beach.
and so you have a company that came in, and granted, they got some great concessions, but to run their business, they were allowed
The
to govern themselves. But as they are in pretty much in Southern California, they were allowed. But in return for that, for a return in them saying, "Don't interfere in what we do here," they brought in thousands of jobs, billions of dollars, and also gave people a good feeling about going to Florida.
and they expanded the footprint. Universal said, "Well, if you've got a theme park there and people are already going there, we'll have a theme park there because it makes sense. They're already there."
Right, right. I mean, they're there so they can spend 3 days at Disneyland, Disney World in 3 days. I mean, I went to Disney World the first year it opened, man. There was nothing around it. There was no
Right.
Epcot Center or anything.
No.
It was a swamp, and they put up some rides in the middle of it.
That's
Uh,
right.
you know, the future plans were still to be laid out, but you go down there now, and it's cities, it's condos, it's houses, it's alive. It's an area of Florida that's alive. With
Well,
people
and
and
look, California has something to be thankful for too, because he started here, both with the animation side, then the movie side, then the owning half of Burbank side. Walt Disney was everywhere, still is. You drive by the 134 freeway into through Burbank, and there's Disney right there on the side of the freeway. Right, their
uh,
pictures are being made right there. And south of there in Anaheim, which used to be the Orlando of Southern California, well, now it's you couldn't buy that land. Everything is built up all around it. Disneyland is huge. It still remains the grandpa and the original one, and it still expands. They're tearing down old rides and putting up brand new rides. They're revitalizing it all the time. Think of the long-term financial footprint of those two businesses: the animation and the movies on one side, and the theme park on the other. And multiply it by how many years that Walt Disney was down there, and that's the same gift that he gave to Florida. But see, they're not talking about business. They're talking about mindset, a
right.
cultural war that can set DeSantis apart from everybody else. I'll take on Disney and I'll beat those sons of bitches. Why? Uh, they're big. I don't know why. Why would I do such a thing? It's silly. It's a show. It's a show I'm putting on. I want to be president. I gotta act tough.
Well, it's incredible to me to think that with all of the problems that Florida and this country has, that this is what he's going to base his campaign on.
He's making
That
more
that
problems.
that that it's not going to be. Here's what I'm going to do to straighten things out. Here's what I'm going to do to, you know. I mean, does the fact that somebody wants to have pronouns in front of their name affect my everyday life?
No.
Does the fact that that somebody can just walk into a store and buy a gun, an assault rifle, does that affect my life? Yes, quite so.
Everywhere
Because
you
I never
go.
know, you never know, none of us ever know when we're going to walk into a store and it's going to be somebody who bought one of those assault rifles and they're shooting the place up.
Yep, nothing can be done, Vinny, as we've discussed, except, of course, getting a gun yourself. How about that? Or if you have a gun, don't you need another gun? I think you probably do. And
Or
where do
don't you
you
need
keep
to
them?
carry it all over the place? I mean, if you have a gun in your house to say, okay, if somebody comes through that window,
I'm ready.
I'm ready. And if somebody comes through the window, yeah, chances are you got a pretty good excuse to shoot at them, or at least at them. I don't know if you always have an excuse to shoot them, but you have whatever happened to firing a warning shot?
Or a ball peen hammer. A ball peen hammer is a very effective weapon. One to the side of the head reduces most initiatives that a crook and a
Yeah, or
robber
a
and a
baseball
breaker.
bat by the side of the bed. I mean, I got a Ken Griffey Jr. It's sit by my bed wherever. The only place I didn't have it was in the hospital.
I like a Ted Kluszewski when it comes to clearing a room.
It was, yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Just the charming part of the show. um, and I don't understand it. I guess, and I never will. Um, how you can not campaign on fixing the things that how you can think that wokeness, which they like to call it,
Or
is
we're in
a more important issue, or grooming, we're teachers grooming kids, which I think is a bunch of bull. It's not
that's
happening.
nonsense.
If it happens, it happens in very small, minute cases. I don't think it's crazy to me that somebody can campaign on that, but it's even crazier to me that they get traction on that. That somebody doesn't say, "You got to be nuts, man! I can't send my kid to school without worrying that they're going to get killed. I can't go to the store without spending $90 for a half a bag of groceries. I can't."
Well, someone made a good point yesterday, and I can't remember who it was. I give credit to them for this easily seen trend that I missed on. That is, the Republicans are fine and with you and stand with you when it comes to crime, fighting crime in the neighborhoods, black people committing crime against white folks, brown people making trouble in criminal ways that white people have to be afraid of. That kind of crime they love. Gun violence, however, anybody using a gun to commit a crime, nope, nothing can be done. Sorry, hands off on that one. Wait, this person's got two guns and they're right there at the door. What kind of, this is insanity. Yeah, it is, but that's not the kind of crime we're talking about. We're talking about racial crime. You're talking about actual crime with guns. No, we're not having anything to do with that. That's a non-starter with the Republicans. We won't talk about the reality of the gun being a problem.
Yeah,
We will not.
It's and I mean, and I got to tell you, Michael, I wonder why we don't demand better. Is this really where this country's head is at, where we think that the issue of pronouns is more important than the issue of gun safety, the issue of what books are in this our curriculum or used in curriculum is more important than inflation.
Do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene or any of the Republican senators that are taking half a day today have any interest whatsoever in what their constituents want on this Friday? Do you
No,
think anybody's answering the phone or looking at the mail and saying, "I wonder what they want"? Would they send me an email if they had a list of things they wanted? That would be interesting. I'd read one of those. I wouldn't do anything about it, but it's good to stay abreast of what the people want because I intend to give them none of that. That's not what I'm here for. You have to understand, I'm a senator. I'm putting it away. Okay, we all are. We're little squirrels putting away our fortunes and
Marjorie.
getting powerful in our own little way.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the most ridiculous. I mean, this is the obvious. I mean, I don't know how any sane human being can look at her and say that this is my representative. I don't know how. I mean, yeah, she's a star for all the wrong reasons.
Same as Tommy Tuberville is a star for being an ignorant cracker. But there he is. He's a senator from Alabama. And how the hell did that happen? Would you guess that they were from the same party? Could you have made that intelligent connection?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Tuberville, we know at least was a football coach. And the mindset of places like Alabama is that the
I think we
football
should
coach is God.
we should start a rumor that George Soros put him into that coaching position in Alabama. Foreign-born George Soros and foreign-born Tommy Tuberville worked in cahoots for years to keep Alabama from winning important games.
Both, and we have birth certificates to prove they were both born in Slovakia.
They were well. Everybody knows that. I mean, that's so old. Tommy Tuberville has been a two-way agent since he was 6 years old. He was schooled in English in Slovakia, which has given him that strange accent that he's never been able to get rid of. Part Alabama, part Slovakia. He'll never shake that. In fact, I guess he's proud of it.
He is certainly one of the he's certainly one of a kind.
You know, the Tommy Tuberville's family is still in Slovakia. They're revered as
Well,
important
they're
people for
staying.
the.
They don't want to leave.
No,
Most people emigrate to the United States and they bring their family after them.
yeah.
Tuberville's family said, "No, we'll
We're good.
stay here.
Yeah, we'll
We've
stay.
already learned where 66 is 66A go,
And
so
it
we
took a
really don't have
lifetime.
to." You
Everybody's
know,
looking for that, but few have found it.
we know where it goes. We know which exit to get off for what we need when we want it. So why mess with that? We're happy here. There's trees, there's birds, there's plenty of milk,
They're famous as
cookies.
the Tuberville family that sent Tommy Tuberville, foreign-born coach, by way of George Soros to Alabama. And everybody knows the story, and they learn it as there's elementary school in Slovakia. The Slovakia education system is second to none, second to some,
Yeah, it's
second to
yeah,
most.
it just makes you think. It does. It makes you think that if the family didn't want to follow him over, what the heck is going on now? It's interesting. I'm going back and I'm thinking about that exchange on the Capitol steps there between Bowman and Marjorie Taylor Greene. When
Or the
she gets
one that
divorced, is she going to keep the Green, or is she going to
I
drop it and
think
just
I
be
think
Marjorie Taylor?
she's stuck. She's stuck with that name. She's going to be
You think
Marjorie
she's
Taylor Greene.
banging Donald Trump?
I think she's banging the delivery boy. She has
Yeah, see, I think she's
unholy needs.
yeah, I think she's banging Donald Trump. Bill Maher had a thing, I don't know, a couple of months ago, where he said what we really ought to be concerned about is who's banging Donald Trump. And I see. I think that he, Donald Trump, is probably banging her, and that's why she will get on on the Republican ticket.
How
As
often does she go to Mar-a-Lago?
could you imagine a Republican ticket of Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Yes. I think there's no depth to which they will not stoop, no ingracious performance that they would not perform, no way that they would find anything so unsavory that they wouldn't do it in public for everyone to see.
Yeah, I mean, this would be the equivalent of the sex show in The Godfather too, when they take him. Freda,
Fredo,
Freda would endorse these two.
he would, and well, because Johnny Ola is behind the whole thing with George Soros.
Yes, Johnny. Well, Johnny Ola and George Soros are close, but it's really. I mean, this it leaves me speechless sometimes. Because the bottom line is, Michael, is I can't believe that we are so dumb of a country that we give this woman breath
Any airtime at all.
and
Yeah.
air. We fan the flames of her celebrity,
Whoa, don't we? We certainly do.
and
And now we shouldn't have done it, Denny, because we found out yesterday that she's very delicate and is bothered by aggressive men being around her. Like, even though they weren't around her and they weren't aggressive, she's still bothered by it. She's concerned about her safety.
you think she was that concerned when she was running down the sidewalk, chasing that kid that was in high school when all his friends were killed,
Right.
and went to the Capitol to testify for gun control? Do you think
No,
she was?
she wanted to show him her gun. I've got a gun.
Yeah,
I got a
yeah.
gun I'm gonna show you.
She chased him down the sidewalk. If I had a gun and I saw that coming at me, I'd turn around and point it at her.
Not unlike a wild boar, if you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, she was. I mean, if you ever seen a tape of that, I forget the kid's name.
I know who you mean from the high school.
Yeah, from the high school. But I mean, so she's chasing him down. But then again, this is a woman that also called the cops on Jimmy Kimmel because he told a joke about her on the on his show, on his late night show. He told a joke and said something about her, or did some kind of skit or something, and she called the cops. She said she was in fear of her life because of Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, I hope that this goes further. I hope that she gets closer to the flame because her trailer park approach to life can only get more odious, more ridiculous, more embarrassing, more pornographic. That's what we can expect from her, and nothing else. There is no political side to her. Impeach Joe Biden turned out to be the most clever thing she could say yesterday on
Yeah.
the steps, which was a thought that lasted just 2 seconds, and then she was on to the next particularly strange point of view. She's not an organized set of thoughts. She is just a mess. I don't know how she gets dressed in the morning.
How interesting is it that you called her style
Right.
trailer park politics, or whatever you said it, and I bet you right now there are people that live in trailer parks that are quite offended by that.
Well, they should be offended no matter where she lives. I suppose I can withdraw my description and offer my apology, but you know what I mean.
Ah, that,
She is on the white trash scale of 1 to 10, very close to just being all trash. And how she intends to build a political career on just basically television appearances and anecdotes is fascinating to watch. But once again, Republican voters are not holding their representatives to any sort of a standard. You don't have to represent them. You don't have to pass legislation. You don't have to introduce bills. You should vote, but there's no pressure if you don't feel like it. You don't have to. You can take the entire economy of the nation into the hole if you don't feel like rising the debt limit, or you could pass it and just make up an excuse why it had to be done because of George Soros and Johnny Ola. Come up with a story. Make up all the stories you want about Johnny Ola and how he's really running the House of Representatives. That'll be better than doing what the first thing that would come to mind for you, which would be what, Marjorie Taylor Greene? What would you do if you were going to actually make a law or vote for something substantive? What would
well,
it be?
she
You're
did
not.
introduce something yesterday. Didn't she introduce an impeachment of Joe Biden?
She did offer that it was a good thing. She seemed to be on the side of impeaching Joe Biden. Impeach Joe Biden, impeach Joe Biden. She said it 3 times, never repeated it again, never referred to it, never explained it, just kept talking about something
Well,
else.
I think she introduced legislation yesterday. She started the impeachment thing rolling.
Oh, good.
Because the Republicans are now hell bent on impeaching Joe Biden.
Well, it's funny that her staff had to do that because she's not able to. She doesn't have a law degree. I imagine that she I don't know what her full education amounts to, but at the same time, I do know that someone on her staff had to write that legislation, and probably at midnight they found out that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "I'm introducing a bill tomorrow morning." What? Yeah, and it's going to be an impeachment of Joe Biden. Damn it! So somebody was up all night writing what Marjorie Taylor Greene promised would happen the next day and putting it into paper form and making it an actual motion. I don't know how. I doubt it's going to get very far. If in fact they actually wrote it and introduced it and tried to put it through the halls of power, I wonder if they actually followed up on it.
Do they have what is it? Legal Zoom? Do they have like a pre? If you go on Legal Zoom, do they have like a pre? Just fill in the blanks form.
You got to pay for what kind of form do you want? Well, we need to
Well,
introduce
an impeachment form, yeah.
impeachment form. Well, that's going to cost you.
Might be something for them to look into, though, Michael.
Well, there's a lot of it going about. We want to impeach somebody. Well, come on in. Do you want the full impeachment or the partial impeachment? Well, let's
Well,
start with the partial. Then
I
we'll go
think you
for the
go with
full.
no. I think you go right for the full. I think it. I think you head right for the full. Why go partial? What would a partial impeachment be like? He wouldn't be allowed to have a press conference.
You don't get the vote at the end for the conviction. You introduce all the evidence like we did with Trump twice. You vote that it's an impeachment, and then the Republican senators say, we thought about it. Ha, funniest thing, we're voting no. It looked
So
like
the
an
Andrew
impeachment.
Johnson model.
sounded like an impeachment the whole time they were talking about it, but I just voted, and it's not an impeachment. So there you go. Funniest thing. But these things happen in Washington. It always surprises me. I'm always caught off guard.
It's because I'm looking for the full impeachment, but if you get a half impeachment or a quarter impeachment, I guess it's cheaper, and Marjorie's trying to save money.
And if you're president, you can sell secrets from your Mar-a-Lago office to pay for what you needed to do in terms of paperwork for the guys to get you off the impeachment.
Or at least have them so that you can put them on display in the bar
Yeah.
Of your, Mar-a-Lago hotel.
Because it's cocktail time, it's happy hour, drinks are reduced, there's peanuts at the bar, and secret documents over here for viewing. It'll be $5.
I'm surprised he didn't take all the secret documents about Kennedy and open up a little bar named Dealey Plaza and just put them all in there, so you could go in.
Recreation of Dealey Plaza, yes. And it's a half-size book depository building that you can stand next to. It's 5'6" instead of the usual size.
Yeah. I mean, I think as long as you're doing stuff like that, take those great moments in history, the great sad moments in history, and
monetize them. Out of them. I have a Bay Area flashback for you. It happened here in LA, a Bay Area flashback, but in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Dodgers decided to honor the gay community in Los Angeles with a special night at the stadium. And among the people they invited were the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, if you remember them from San Francisco.
Yes.
They are drag personalities. They dress up like nuns, and they all have remarkable, funny names. And they do good works. They appear at the gay parade.
Yeah, they're I mean, there's a comical side to them, right. But there is a serious side where they help people out. They raise money. They were instrumental in raising money for AIDS research and AIDS help back in the 80s. And
now there's two people in town that don't want this to happen. The Catholic Church doesn't want the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to come. And the Los Angeles Dodgers gave it a second thought and said, whoa, how did we invite them? No, you're not coming. So the Dodgers have stepped in it like you can't believe. Now nobody wants to go. Right. Now the whole thing is up in the air. It was a terrible misstep by the Dodgers. They sent official invitations and then rescinded the invitation because, after all, we can't have the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at Dodger Stadium. Let's be serious. Of course, that was an error on our part. You're not invited.
I'm not for nothing here, Michael, but if I were the Catholic Church, I just wouldn't open my mouth about anything. I would stick to, please come to our church on Sunday or Saturday night. Please come to our church. You'll hear a nice little mass. You'll get a little bit of bread, a little bit of wine, and we'll keep the priest away from your kids and move on. I wouldn't worry about sister.
I would worry about the last part because their track record on that is not good. It's like a bad bullpen that doesn't change. The next guy you call in, where'd you come from? The bullpen. Oh geez. Here we go.
If I were the if I were the Catholic Church, I'd keep my mouth shut and just not say anything. Just if that's what these people want to do, knock yourself out. I mean, how do you get this? Listen.
And one of the spokesperson.
I'm a Catholic. I mean, but
the spokesperson for the sisters is a Catholic, raised Catholic.
It doesn't bother me that somebody's making fun of sisters, pretty much because my whole time in Catholic school, I made fun of the sisters
carefully.
And if those people, if Jack Ferdig, who used to be Sister Boom Boom, I don't even know if he's alive anymore. It was so many years ago. How do you like that I pull that one out of my memory bank?
You see, here's the funny part about they're funny. They all have funny names. They all have outrageous points of view. They all
It's
are
a
there to entertain.
freaking joke.
It's a huge joke, and it's a wonderful joke, and it's a long sustained joke, and just the name tells you what's going on. How did the Los Angeles Dodgers say, yes, these persisters of perpetual indulgence, we sure as hell want them. Anybody want to be a cheerleader? You want to help out on the sidelines? It's going to be a festive day.
Well, what do you do now? Do you go shut down late night catechism, or tell late night catechism that they can't come to a Dodger game? I actually know the sister the woman that does the sister. She's a good friend of mine.
Isn't it funny that the idea was to welcome everybody to Dodger Stadium, to welcome a part of Los Angeles that they hope are Dodger fans, to say, you're welcome here, come enjoy a ball game, let's have a hot dog and a beer. Instead, and what they achieved was the absolute opposite. They put a finger in their own eye. They told the people involved that they weren't important enough or interesting enough to be part of the Dodger family, that they're not welcome at Dodger Stadium, not to go to Dodger Stadium, don't bother anybody at Dodger Stadium, and sure as hell don't buy a ticket, a hot dog, and a beer. We're not into that. Thank you very much.
Well, they caved to this pressure, and they had to know this was coming. I mean, they had to know that now, if you didn't want them there, somebody should have been smart enough to not invite them in the first place.
Didn't
You
even
know,
know
if
who they
you don't
were.
invite somebody, that's one thing. But when you invite somebody and then you pull the invitation, it's like you're cutting your own throat. You're
Yep,
you're slitting your public related wrists, uh, because now it looks like, number one, you're caving to people, and number two, your night of inclusion is now a night of exclusion because
exactly.
you want to exclude the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. And listen, I don't say you got to give them an award if you don't want to give them an award, but what you got to do is you got to say, hey, we're not giving you an award. Come to the ballpark, celebrate your I don't know, celebrate your lifestyle, celebrate what you do. Come, we want you here. We we want you in our ballpark. We want you to come. We want you to feel safe. We want you to enjoy yourself.
Have a 3 inning ball game between the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence and the Hollywood Stars
Yeah,
before the game to raise money for anything you want, or to raise money for nothing, just to put on a good show and have fun.
yeah. I mean, and instead now you stuck your foot so far in your mouth
You can't fix it.
that there's no way you can come out of this thing looking clean. And you've done it in a town where gay people have a lot of political pull.
And also, they know how to put on a show, and they say, "Who's in charge here? How could
And
this happen in L.A.?"
where you're right, you have an entertainment business that is such a huge part of the town. It's the company town for
Forever.
entertainment.
Yeah,
And so now, like on the other coast, where Ron DeSantis is pissed off Disney, now the Dodgers have figured out a way to piss off,
yeah.
you
Everybody.
know, another end of the community, the other side of the country, with a whole totally different issue.
You know what? What are the players saying? The players are saying this front office doesn't know how to do anything. How can you throw a party and mess it up so bad? How can you invite everyone to come to the party and then make the party such a terrible thing that no one is going to come and everyone knows about how you screwed it up?
I'm not, Mikey. I don't know if I listen. I haven't been in a clubhouse in a while, so I don't know what the um, feeling is. If it's anything like it used to be, the players are probably happy that there's no gay night, just as they're happy when there's no faith night. I don't think that players like to get caught up in the political stuff. I think they want to go out and play baseball. That's
Then
what
you better
they.
then on these nights, my advice to you is to win, because nobody wants a big night and then you lose as they did last night. 11-8, I think it was, the Dodgers lost. Giants won, but
And it's always
Dodgers,
a good day when the Giants win
they know,
and the
always a
Dodgers
good day.
lose. I mean, it's a
That's right.
beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful
But
thing to behold.
and I know that if you go back to the 90s, that there was still a lot of anti-gay sentiment in baseball clubhouses. There was
Well,
still,
that
there was still many players who just weren't down with that. As a matter of fact, if you remember, there were a couple of things you could say on a if you had a hangover and you came in on a Friday morning, let's say, and you just, oh my God, and you wanted to get people, but you had to do a show. The only thing you had to do is turn on the mic and say, what'll happen the first time there's a player in baseball or in any sport who admits that they're a homosexual? And then just sit back. just, I mean, it's a hot button. It was like one of those things where you knew because everybody had an opinion on it. Everybody
but now
thought,
we're past that, because there has been a gay
yeah,
guy in every gay male and female in every major sport.
sure, we're way past it. Well, I
And
don't
what,
think.
but the question is, what was going to change? What was going to never be the same? What bridge had we crossed? And the answer was none.
Good. Everybody was afraid of
You
nothing.
thought you were crossing a bridge, but you weren't.
Everybody
You
was
found the
afraid
journey.
of nothing. No gay guy jumped on some player in a locker room or a
Yeah, no,
clubhouse.
in the huddle in front of
Yeah,
television
and
matches.
nobody grabbed anybody's thing in the huddle. Nobody grabbed somebody and rubbed their body up and down them in the key. I mean, everything that the that people thought
And warned
was
us
going to
about.
happen
Yeah,
didn't happen. Let me go back. Ignorant people thought was going to happen.
right.
People who had lived in places where there was a large gay population probably thought that the clubhouse was going to be cleaner, was going to smell better. you know,
But no, didn't help a bit.
if you lived in San Francisco, if you lived in New York, if you lived in L.A., you know how it worked. These people weren't standing out in the street trying to recruit you, just like they're not trying to recruit you through books. The only thing that they're trying to do is tell people that, you know what, if that's how you are, if that's what your thing is, it's okay. We
Exactly.
don't have to, we're not going to sit here and call you the names that we called you. We're not going to sit here and ostracize you. We're not going to make you feel less than because you feel a certain way.
And in towns where the gay population has accumulated the power that you referenced, they know that you don't get much by asking please, by asking politely. Sometimes you have to demonstrate, sometimes you have to pressure, sometimes you have to run for office yourself to get the representation that you require.
Well, that's what they.
And the ones who found out about this mostly yesterday, who had no idea what they were dealing with and looked ham-fisted and disoriented through the whole thing, is the LA Dodgers, who took a perfectly normal situation on a great season that they're having and screwed it up on purpose, in ignorance, without ever thinking about it. And I still say that if the person who invited the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence isn't fired, not because they invited him, but because they then rescinded it or didn't know who they were, just sent the invitation willy-nilly. What did the management say? Bob, get in here. Get us some gay people. We need all the gay leaders. We need all the gay people and the gay things and get all that gay stuff. And we want that for Tuesday the 24th. And hurry up and send out the invitation. It's going to be a big night. What kind of night? Well, I don't know. It's going to be gay night. We'll call it something else.
Somebody suggested it, and somebody was looking to make their job easy. So they invited these people, probably never even looking at their website or what they were all about, or going back and doing a Google search. All you had to do was a Google search, and you'd figure it out pretty quickly.
There it would be, Sister Boom Boom and all the others.
Sister Boom Boom and Company marching down, Castro Street or
Polk Canyon.
or Polk Canyon or in LA, in West Hollywood. I mean, boom. You would have seen it.
They knew who they were. And
Yeah.
they're like a vaudeville act. Everybody knows them. They're harmless. They're funny.
Yeah, again, I just don't I don't understand. Again, the Catholic Church, uh, whatever happened to people taking a joke? Whatever happened to people saying, well, you know what, if that's what they want to do? How do we get so highly offended in our lives that the Catholic Church in LA has to be offended by a bunch of people who dress up like nuns?
What about the lumberjacks? What about the lumberjack song that Monty Python has been doing, making fun of lumberjacks all these years? They don't have a voice in Congress. They don't have a local politician that'll fight for them. Lumberjacks just get maligned, running around in suspenders and a bra. They think that that's funny. Lumberjacks are cutting down trees as fast as they can. They need our support.
Yes.
And they rarely get it. No one ever apologized to them about
But
the
everybody always supports the trees.
Always. They're on the side.
Everybody's on the tree side all the time.
And these trees don't go down willingly. You have to fight them to the ground.
Oh man, it's yeah. I just I saw the story on that yesterday, and I just thought if you're gonna have a night that celebrates a particular group of people, then you have to include, or you can't buckle to pressure from a group of people who don't like those people. Because what you are is standing up for inclusiveness.
Right.
You're standing up to say that our ballpark welcomes gay people. Our ballpark welcomes Italians. Our ballpark welcomes. I mean, what?
We're the team that once a year everybody wears number 42 because Jackie Robinson was the first black guy in baseball and he played for the Dodgers. Now the Dodgers are inclusive, except of course for you sisters of perpetual indulgence. I think you knew we weren't going to include you. We got on the invitation list somehow, but forget about it. You're not coming. We don't care if you're Dodger fans, but everybody else, hey, wouldn't it be great to go to a Dodger game and see the team, see the boys in blue? Wouldn't it be great to come on out to the ballpark? Because there'll be no gay people here. You can count on that. We fixed it.
Well, they didn't even say that, though. They said that you have to be the right kind of gay people to come. We only want the gay people that look like the straight people.
And act like the straight people.
We don't want gay people to come that look different.
What about that guy? Oh, yeah, he's gay.
Make fun of the Catholic Church or make fun of any segment of society. And again, if you were against that, why did you invite them in the first place? You should have said, you know what? It's gay night. It's Pride night. Just come to the ballpark. Let's not give away awards. Let's not give away this. Just come to the ballpark. Sometimes I think that there are certain people, certain groups, certain government entities that go overboard to try to compensate for the abuse that groups have taken in the past. I truly think that. I think that for whatever reason, you have to make it more than it is. It's a night to go out to the ballpark and enjoy yourself, isn't it?
That's all there is to it.
And it's a night to show that you can do that whether you're gay, straight, don't know, don't care, whether you use pronouns, vowels, or use description of foods as your pronouns. Again.
Just call me Sister Hot Tamale.
Yeah. Well, what's your pronoun? Surf and turf. Why?
That's taken. I'm sorry, but that's been taken.
It's just ridiculous to try to overcompensate. Well, we have to give awards out. We have to give this up. No, just invite, make it welcoming for people to come to the ballpark who identify themselves as gay. That's all you have to do. I don't know. You want to sell pieces of rainbow cake for $5 a piece. You want to sell some kind. You want to maybe have some businesses that identify as gay sponsor that night, or you want to have them.
I think
do
you
that.
got to have a Sal Mineo bobblehead.
Yeah, but now we start to have. Oh, we got to give an award out for this. We got to give this. We got to give that. No, we don't. All we got to do, the whole idea of the whole thing is to just be welcoming. And instead, it's probably split the community more than anything else. A night that's meant for inclusiveness now has people all pissed off, and they're going to protest, and they're going to do this and boycott the Dodgers. And the only reason you should boycott the Dodgers is if you're a Giants fan. That's it.
Or an Angels fan. But the idea that that the Dodgers would do this to take a position that they don't really hold. To say you're welcome, but not really welcome. To say it's a business thing, okay? You understand. Fill the stands, spend a lot of money on parking, spend a lot of money on food. It's a business decision we're making. Sure, you're welcome. Of course, everybody come on in, have a seat, root for the Dodgers. Just pay full freight, get in here, fill it. We're going to have a special night. The whole upper deck is going to be gay. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, at some point, we got to get past this kind of stuff. At some point, America has to get its humor back. That's one thing. I watch a lot of stand-up comedy. I watch a lot of comedy just because I can't look at the news anymore. It's so funny. There was a delay on, one of the famous things about Seattle is nobody here can work in concrete. Anytime they put something up in concrete, it collapses, it falls, it breaks.
Can they build with brick and stone?
Yeah. So the latest, they had the West Seattle freeway closed for 2 years. They opened it up, and now there's another piece of it that's falling apart, so they have to close part of it again.
Have they read the book called "Can Anybody Here Play This Game"?
No. So anyway, there's a clock downtown, and the clock sits over the 3rd Street bus, the 3rd Avenue bus tunnel, and the light rail.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, the bus tunnel that they built, and then found out they built it too small for the light rail to go through.
So they measured once. They should have measured twice.
Yeah, no, they didn't measure twice, and they didn't cut the right way or anything. So it was like a year delay on that thing, so they could cut.
Because they made the tunnel too small for the train that was going to run through it, right?
Yeah, which is not a good thing. You have to have a tunnel that lets trains pass each other.
We're finished. Okay, let's take a look.
Nothing that gets built with concrete in this town ever comes out right. So anyway, they have these people, and it's this old clock downtown, and I don't know why, but they decided that they want to take the clock out. So the workmen come over, and they're drilling down to get the clock out of the ground, and what do?
They hit
electricity. Drill through the top of the tunnel.
These guys are good.
Now, I don't know if it bothers me so much that the roof of the tunnel is so close to the street, or that these guys are so stupid that they don't know that there's a tunnel under there and they only can drill down this much. Isn't that? Don't they run that commercial all the time? I don't know if they run it in L.A. That if you're going to dig on your property, call
right. 611.
Obviously, nobody called 1-800-DIG or whatever it is.
Well, I'm surprised. Here's your job. Take a clock out. First thing we want to do, let's do some drilling. Wait a minute. We're taking a clock out. Shouldn't we be removing something? We will. But I'd like to drill to start things off. Let's just drill a few holes and see where we are.
Yeah, their motto ought to be, Con Edison on the sides of their trucks when I was a kid. They used to have this like white haired guy who looked a little like George Washington in overalls, and under him was a big logo that said "Dig We Must." And I think that
It stayed with you all these years.
it's yeah, oh yeah, it was an unforgettable logo. I mean, it was yeah. I'm not. Well, my grandfather worked for Con Edison, so maybe that's why I remember it so vividly. Um, but these guys, I mean, they ought to adopt that logo. But so now, anyway, the upstart of this whole thing is
Maybe the Mariners should invite them to a game, see what happens, because they can drill during the game. Would that be okay with the Mariners? Because
I'm
they like to drill
surprised
wherever
that
they go.
Safeco Field hasn't experienced, or whatever they're calling it this week, T-Mobile Field hasn't experienced a some kind of concrete breakdown. The roof is worked almost every time.
Failure.
Yeah. So anyway, they drilled down into this tunnel. So now light rail all over the city is screwed up because they have to bring the trains into the tunnel, get the people off the trains, put them on a bus, and take them down to Pioneer Square to get back on the light rail to go wherever they're going. So if you're taking light rail to the airport,
You're never
which
going to
is
get there.
the whole idea, you better allow yourself an extra 2 hours.
What I think they should do is just appoint a captain on the train. When it gets to the spot where they have to stop, the captain has to hail a cab, and as many people as they can get in the cab. Everybody else, you're on your own. There's no bus coming.
Well, they would do that, but the Duke and Duchess of York seem to have all the cabs.
They had a cat. They didn't want to go to their hotel because they didn't want anyone to know where they were staying.
Well, it was a friend's house. It wasn't even a hotel. They were staying. I mean, how are these people? I mean, they got all the money in the world. How the hell do they not get their own hotel suite? They got to stay at a friend's house.
I think they didn't feel they'd have any privacy at the hotel, and they were probably right about that. So
Is
what was
Meghan Markle sleeping on the couch?
What was the trip about? Was it so important that they go to New York for this event?
She was getting an award for a humanity, some kind of a humanity award or something like that.
No, you know what you do when you're under that much pressure? Fly in, land in the afternoon, go to the hotel, make your speech, get your award, get in the car, go back to the airport, and goodbye.
Well, see, I don't know if I agree with that, Michael, because, well, it's a two-sided thing. Over here, you have these people are celebrities. This is the life that they were born into. This is what goes on when you have that kind of celebrity in life. You get chased by people. You want your picture. You take selfies. You get interrupted when you're eating your meal. It's what happens, and that's the price you pay for that fame. It's the price you pay, to have that kind of celebrity in a situation. But I can see the point of every second people take, flash bulbs in your face and all of this kind of trying to get all these different pictures. I mean, there should be some kind of stopping of these people, but that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to do that. It's freedom of the press. They have a right to be there.
And they take that right to the
zealously.
Yeah, to the limits.
Yeah, and they're zealous because they know if they get that one money shot of these two, it's a few thousand.
And the fact is, there's no amount of public protection that can be provided. The city of New York didn't want to take responsibility for getting them across and around town, but because they didn't, or the previous arrangements weren't made, it turned into a circus act. And
well, but they did take responsibility. I mean, the New York City Police Department had a detail. I think they had a lead car and a car behind them, with the limo or whatever they were. The truck that they were in, the Escalade or whatever it was. So the New York City Police Department were there, but even the New York City Police Department judged that this crowd, these people that were following them on scooters and bicycles and motorcycles and cars and everything else, had gotten out of hand. People were going up on the sidewalk. Pedestrians were diving off the sidewalk. Where else in the world do you get pedestrians diving off the sidewalk at 2 o'clock in the morning? But,
Things happen in New York that don't happen in your town, folks.
Yeah. I mean, even in LA, you probably couldn't find somebody to dive off a sidewalk at 2 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't happen. People aren't out.
We roll up the sidewalks at 9 o'clock. It saves a fortune for the city. Just roll them up.
Yeah, and the shooting starts at 9 o'clock, so you don't want to be out.
9:30. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be out there. But so, at least the cops were smart enough to get them in front of the 19th precinct so that they could figure out a way to calm things down. And I guess there was a garbage truck out there, and the police were changing shifts so that the street was full of police cars. And they finally figured out a way to get him into a taxi cab and get him out, But I don't know how you set a limit on the press. If I'm Harry and Meghan, I mean, especially if I'm Harry, I'm sitting there going, "Oh crap! This is how my mother died."
Exactly. The whole point being that that's exactly what he was thinking. And I wonder, Vinny, would that have happened in Baltimore? Would that have happened in Chicago? Would that have happened in Phoenix?
Yeah, I think it does happen anywhere they go, Michael. Unfortunately, I think that there's just this onslaught of people who think they can make money, or maybe do make money, out of getting a photo of them, out of getting which underwear is Harry wearing today?
Freelance freaks.
Yeah, and they get paid, places like THC or whatever. What is it?
TMZ.
TMC. Thank you. I don't watch it, so I don't know. But like TMC, they pay these guys big money to get that money shot.
Yep. You have to be a freelance freak.
And there was a guy, there was a guy who used to do that and harass Jackie Kennedy
every day.
Like years and years and years. What was his name? Ron Palillo, I think.
Yeah,
and he was like this celebrity photographer, and he'd be hanging out outside her house. And I think she wound up suing him at some point and getting some kind of limited order of protection.
Because guys like that need to disappear sometimes. It's for their own safety. We're doing you a favor. You're going to disappear for a little while.
I'm kind of surprised in some ways that, with the pull that Jackie had, that she didn't have something, but every time she would come out of the house, even with the kids when they were younger, she would come out of the apartment on Fifth Avenue, and he'd be there. He'd follow him to school, follow him back. I mean, at some point you have to set up a safety zone.
Well, that's why she talked with Carmine, she talked with Franco, and they agreed that it would be best not to make let's not embarrass ourselves. Let's not do anything untoward. Let me talk to him. Carmine wants to talk to him today. I say, whoa, let's cool off. Hold on. We'll talk to him tomorrow. Make him an offer. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
I mean, you saw The Godfather. You know what Sonny did to the photographer there. Oh, no, not Sonny. It was Barzini. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, Sonny did it too. He walked out, threw the camera down.
Yep.
And then Barzini, when they took the picture of him at the table at the wedding reception, he
snapped his fingers.
One of his guys went over there, grabbed the camera, took the
film out and threw it on the ground.
Threw it on the floor. But Sonny did it himself. Barzini had one of his goons do it.
He didn't need his picture to be anywhere.
He did not want his picture on the front page of the New York Times, or anywhere for that matter.
It seems like I had another note, Vinny, but my handwriting fails me. I don't know what in the world I wrote down there. Wasn't there? Oh, I know. There was another group called that performed next to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and I know you remember the Dykes on Bikes.
Dykes on Bikes, yes, they used to lead the Gay Pride Parade every year.
and to see the gals in their cut off Levi jackets and their Harley Hogs making their way down the street with at top volume is a beautiful thing to behold. And I don't know
I
if any of
wouldn't
them are
mess with
Dodger
him.
fans.
I would have never messed with him. There was some tough looking women, man. I mean, those women were working out, and there was some very. I wouldn't want to get in a fight with any of them.
But they saw the lighter side of life on the days that they were called to perform, to drive in formation.
They were good
Bikes
too.
on bikes. Oh yeah, they knew what they were doing.
They were good. I mean, I remember, them leading the parade off. I used to, when the parade was used to be down. Well, I guess it still is downtown. I'm not there anymore. That's the trick.
Oh, you put two and two together, you'll be damned if you don't come up with four every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Anyway.
Oh, that's right. I'm not there. Oh, what are you? I'll be
Yeah,
damned.
that's what's going on. I knew there was.
Oh, well.
Some days I amaze myself.
I'm a dyke. I'm a dyke. Yes, you are, my dear, but you don't have a bike. Get a bike and we can talk.
Right. I used to stand there by UN Plaza and, by, what is it, 9th Street, right? No. 8th Street. It used to go down by the San Franciscan Hotel. And across the street from that, and the Fox Theater there, the Fox building.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my spot when I would go down and watch the parade. You'd see me, oh man, they did the great formations and they looked as good as the motorcycle cops. Sure. I would have loved to have seen like a bike off between the motorcycle cops and the Dykes on Bikes. Who was better?
That said, Dykes on Bikes faces the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence in a 3-inning softball game.
Let's go. I'm there. Well, Mikey, it's the Dodgers, so it doesn't break my heart. I feel worse for. I think I feel worse for the Sisters than I do for the Dodgers.
Oh, I don't feel for the Dodgers. You know me. I feel nothing for them.
It's just the height of stupidity.
They're dead to me. Dead.
The Dodgers are?
They're dead.
Well, you said something nice about them earlier in the show, though. I mean, you did say that, what did you? You said something.
You just took it the wrong way.
I wasn't there anymore. Sad note, I don't know. Pancreatic cancer has taken the life of Andy Rourke, who played bass for the Smiths. And continued to play with Morrissey after the Smiths split up in 85, 86. I forget what year they actually split up, but he went out on the road with Morrissey, and supposed to be a really nice guy. Johnny Marr did a nice little thing about him that I saw on CNN this morning. But
I really like Johnny's solo work since leaving the Smiths, to tell you the truth. His albums have been very...
I like the Smiths. It was, by the way, Andy was 59. It was depressing.
Yeah.
It was depressing. I mean, when you listen to it, you couldn't feel better about life when you listened to the Smiths.
No, they were about being in your room alone and depressed.
Right. Or maybe they're one of my favorite songs, Girlfriend in a Coma. I mean, how do you get happy after that? I can't imagine WABC chime time going, all right, 15 minutes after the hour, and that's the Smiths with Girlfriend in a Coma. Better wake up, honey. We got the Beatles coming up next.
Better wake up, man. Well,
anyway, but they were, just one of the great bands of alternative rock and roll.
And Morrissey became cranky in his old age, and just cranky as can be today. He's against everything.
But I always have respect for somebody who covers an unknown Frankie Valli song. And I saw Morrissey do To Give. which was a Frankie Valli, Bob Gaudio song from back in the 60s when it was released as a solo Frankie Valli. And it's a great song. I always loved this song. And Morrissey did the song justice.
All right. Well, okay.
So I got to give him credit.
Give him due where it is due.
You got a catcher coming up, Patrick Bailey.
We're bringing up the kids. I think it's a wise decision, and it's paid off for the Giants. We're not just bringing kids up who may or may not have the goods. From what I've seen, the last couple additions to the team have not made the difference that I need to see in terms of wins and losses. But in terms of optimism, the kid, Casey Schmidt, has been hitting the ball everywhere. The most amazing thing about this kid is not that he had a couple of home runs and has been doing well with RBIs. He's played third, short, and second since he's been here. He's been hitting the ball everywhere, and he hits line to line, Vinnie. He'll smear one down the third base line. He's a right-handed hitter into the corner. He'll drive one into the right field corner, down the first base line, over the head of the second baseman. He sprays everything at all times.
You mean he's the kind of player who would be able to hit through the shift?
Yes. Good luck.
There you go. I'm just saying that the whole thing about the shift annoys me. Always has, always will. You if you're a ball player, you learn how to hit them where they ain't, as Wee Willie Keeler used to say.
That's what he does, and so they play him straight away. Duh. Of course they do, because what's the book on this kid? He sprays the ball. Well, any outfielder will say, okay, I'm playing right here in the middle of right field. Please spray it toward me.
Yeah. And so how is his so is he lifting the Giants? I mean, I see that they're winning games, the Giants.
Yes,
it seems like they're
emotionally he is. And also he brings a message from the AAA, and that is, hit the damn ball and win the games. If you don't, I will find someone who will. And that's the message that you get when a kid comes up. He takes the job, and he's been playing at three positions, as I said. God knows he can probably play the outfield as well, and that just makes him a weapon. And our manager Gabe Kaplan likes guys who can play more than one position, moves them around. If you can switch hit and play three positions in the infield, you've got a job with the Giants. We'll find a place to put you. All you got to do is hit the ball. And if you don't, we will find someone who will. And that's got to be the mantra for the rest of this year. Put together a hitting ball club.
Well, it's interesting because you have, the Giants, I think, are playing better ball than they were. The Mets are showing signs of being a second division club. Remember when they used to be second divisions?
Yeah.
But then they go in and they beat the Tampa Bay Rays, who have I think they have the best record in baseball at the moment, or close to it. Yeah, that they're the Dodgers are 28-17.
And the Giants are the slowest team in the National League keeping their transactions up to date, because the movement that you're talking about with the catcher is not here as of yesterday. They just sent a right-handed pitcher on a rehab assignment.
Yeah, this is 15 minutes ago. This came across the wire.
And what's his name? Harvey?
Patrick Bailey. I think he's the son of George Bailey.
It could be that he's the son of the famous Giant catcher Ed Bailey, who was a power-hitting left-handed catcher who hit a couple of home runs in the World Series against the Yankees and played and was a great jokester. Apparently, at the field in Cincinnati, the public address announcer's booth was right next to the visitors' dugout. And the Giants had a pitcher named Jim Duffalo with a D. And the announcer looks at Ed Bailey and said, "What's this kid's name?" And he says, "Shuffle off to Buffalo, Jim Buffalo." And he announced him that way. And Bailey got in trouble, but he was a jokester. And he was my favorite. Ed Bailey was my guy.
Yeah.
Left-handed hitting power hitter. He shared duties with Tom Haller during those days.
Did he also play for
The
the
Reds.
Braves for a while?
Maybe. I know he played
Yeah,
for
I
the
think I
Reds.
kind of remember him with the Braves at one point. And I don't think he's the son of Jack Bailey, who was the
Probably a
longtime
queen for
host
a day.
of America's Craziest Game Show, Queen for a Day.
It was Jack Bailey who asked his producer, "Can anybody here play this game? We're losing like crazy over here. Does anybody know how to hit, run, and make a play?"
Oh my God. I always remember my mom used to watch that show all the time. I always remember Jack Bailey would come out and, and he looked like a shifty old guy. Bet Jack
I know.
Bailey.
He made him cry. He did. He was the
Yeah.
shifter. He
And he'd
had to
come out
be.
and say, well, you're homeless and you're living out on the street, but we're going to help you. Here's a brand new Maytag dishwasher. I mean, no for paper plates here, Jack.
We got no place to hook this up. What do you think we're doing?
We're going to have to live in it. How about the cash?
All right, here's $200.
Yeah, here's $200. Get on your way. And Jack got a new dishwasher in his house. Anyway,
What this means is that the experiment, I think, with Joey Bart is coming to an end, Vinny.
Well, he's got a groin strain, it says here. Bart
he was a star, but he never. They made him a star before he proved himself, and now it's a bit of an embarrassment.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know. He's got a groin strain. I guess we'll see what happens, right? At some point.
He's in the paper. A man older than both of us, but Harrison Ford is promoting his new film, the last and fifth Indiana Jones adventure. And the girl, the English comedian and writer that made was it Scumbag or Fleabag?
Fleabag.
Was it Fleabag?
The hotel.
It was.
I don't know if I know it.
I can't think of her name. Anyway, she's the co-star this time. She's the female co-star, and she's a handful. She's going to be great with Harrison Ford. It's going to be a laugh riot adventure, chase scene after chase scene, insanity in the jungle, and one last time because Harrison Ford's going to be 81 soon, and they said he went to Cannes to do the film festival promotions, and he was shirtless at the beach, hanging out, getting some sun.
Yeah, they gave him an award, I think, a Lifetime Achievement Award, if I'm not mistaken.
Why not? And what is it? Probably a fedora and a flashlight.
Yeah, probably.
And a whip. Don't forget the whip.
Maybe it's an old matron's costume. Remember the matrons in the theater used to wear the white costumes with the hat? They looked like a cross between a waitress and a school nurse.
Cigarettes, cigars, and cigarillos.
Cigars, cigarettes, and dipperillos. Where is Edie Adams when you need her?
She's down the way with the Dykes on Bikes.
I don't know. I wasn't there. Wait a minute.
Where was Vinnie? Well, he wasn't there.
Wasn't there. No wonder. They're probably still doing it. I'm just not there. Strange when you come to these realizations sometimes. Anyway.
You got a show tomorrow? What's happening with your show, mañana?
Oh, we have a show tomorrow. Yes, we're going to have our good friend Jill Simonillo join us from Pickup Truck and SUV Talk. We'll talk a little bit about the Ford Raptor pickup truck that I drove this past week, the Raptor S. That was it was the modern day version of a Tonka toy. I mean, if you were a kid, you played with a Tonka toy. This is the truck that you want to buy. I mean, it's just it has no earthly use whatsoever. It gets 10 miles to the gallon. If you're lucky, if you nurse it, and it has 700 horsepower. It sounds awesome. But the reality is, at $111,000 sticker price, and then they're probably getting 30 or 40 over that. Who the hell is buying this truck?
I don't know. By the way, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the name of the name of the female star opposite Harrison Ford, and her show was called Fleabag. She is something. Go see Fleabag. You got to see the whole thing. It's wonderful. She wrote it, directed it, produced it, stars in it. Now she's got herself a big film, and I think you're going to see her as someone that America will warm to.
I love the name Phoebe, and I love a woman who lives in a flea bag. So I mean, between the two, I'm sure I'll like her.
Phoebe Mary Waller-Bridge, Waller-Bridge, and
Waller-Bridge.
she's a real talent.
You know, I haven't seen maybe the last two Raiders of the Lost arc there. So maybe it's time for me to go back and kind of binge them and watch them all, and then watch that. Air just showed up on Amazon Prime, so I'm gonna check that out. Watch that.
You got to have the whip. I hope there's a scene with the whip. He's got the whip over his shoulder. Something happens in the marketplace. He has to defend Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who gets into it. Give me the whip just once. Don't retire it without using it.
Gotta admit, man, Harrison. I mean, what's that guy survived 2 plane crashes?
Yeah, both in L.A. and both. Yeah. He was the pilot.
Yeah, he likes to fly. I evidently doesn't do it too well. I mean,
some days he doesn't like to land all that well.
You think that after one plane crash, you'd say, okay.
I think he wasn't the guy that's going to come up with that idea on his own. So you're the guy who crashed the plane. You remember last week that you were the guy who also crashed the plane? Yeah.
What are the odds? I mean, you know, once you get one plane crash, I guess you survive it. You think, well, that's never going to happen again.
So let's talk. Maybe 3 times the charm. Is that what you're looking for?
I don't know, man. I thought the strangest thing I ever seen was an airport where 2 planes crashed like a month apart from each other. That was kind of bizarre up in Pennsylvania. But so for the show tomorrow, so we're going to talk about the Raptor. We got our cartoon.
What's your cartoon?
We found a Mother's Day cartoon last week. It was great. And it was done by Dolly Parton's sister.
Oh, my God.
And mother drove a truck. And it was a vintage 1975 country music song. It was great. And we found it. And after a lot of research,
trying to think of a Mother song, Mother's Little Helper by the Rolling Stones. Mother Nature's Son by the Beatles.
Well, I always liked Requiem for the Masses by the Association.
Yeah.
That was a good even though it didn't have mother in the title, the song was sung to the dying or the dead bullfighter's mother.
Right. And then there's the song by Pink Floyd called Mother.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and then there's also, of course, Jerry Vale singing "Mama, Tosina Balanina, Mama."
I interviewed Jerry Vale, and Jerry Vale had to do the interview standing up because he didn't want to wrinkle his tuxedo before the show.
Jerry Vale.
I thought, okay, let's do it standing up. That makes sense. I don't want to wrinkle your tuxedo either. You walk out with a wrinkled tuxedo, who are you going to be thinking about? Your mama or me? I don't want you thinking about me.
You don't want to have a wrinkled tuxedo at the Fairmont.
At the Fairmont, you look like a gentleman. Let's do it standing up. Yes, sir, Mr. Vale. Be happy to do it.
I remember going to the Fairmont and going home. This would never happen today. But I remember I had to go to something at the Fairmont, and I remember dashing home, and I think this was when I worked at the city, maybe it was at cable. But I didn't have a jacket with me, and I didn't want to go into the lobby of the Fairmont without a proper jacket on.
Right.
So I ran home and got the jacket and came back, and because I would be embarrassed to walk into a hotel lobby like that without a jacket on.
And I wonder if they still have those rules.
Probably not. I mean, these days, I think anything goes.
I was thinking of radio interviews that I had done, and often, if there's time, you might ask the guest that you interviewed to do a station break for you. Hi,
Yeah.
it's New York Vinnie here on WABC. See you every afternoon. Always listen to Vinnie when I'm in New York. Only one person ever told me no.
Really?
Only one. And I've interviewed a lot of people now. I didn't ask them all if they would do the pieces, because often if you're in live radio, there's no time to do that.
Right.
But the person who turned me down was Mose Allison.
Really?
He said, "How are you going to use it?" I said, "Well, it'll just be like, 'Hi, this is Mose Allison,' and blah blah blah." And he goes, "Nah, I don't believe so." He was a gentleman about it. He was very quiet. In fact, Mose Allison was the only person I listened to his interview over a number of times because of the way he said area. He said, "Well, when I played down in the area," because he was from Mississippi,
Yeah.
but he had this very soft Mississippi accent.
But he lived in the Bay Area, didn't he?
I don't know if he did. Probably over time he did. He was
Yeah.
touring when I was talking with
Maybe
him.
I'm wrong, because I know he used to play the Last Day Saloon. I remember he played a bunch of times. So what was the club that was upstairs from the Last Day? He played that. I know he played the Great American Music Hall a bunch of
Yeah,
times. Yeah,
I'm
for
trying
some
to think
reason
of where he.
I thought he lived in Marin somewhere, but maybe I'm wrong. I gotta, with there's so many musicians in Marin, you
You
can
wouldn't know.
actually confuse yourself.
It's easy to make the guess that he would live there. I really don't know. I don't know where he lived. It's interesting, but it's funny that would be. It always stuck
Yeah,
with me.
I don't know if anybody ever refused me. I'm trying to think now. I mean, I got. Matter of fact, I have them somewhere on some thing in the flash drives there. But I got a bunch that I really wanted. I mean, I played Richie Havens for you. I got that one.
Nice one.
I got Cousin Brucey, which was
Ooh, nice
pretty
one.
cool. Joey Ramone, I have
Nice
him.
one.
Max Weinberg,
Oh, good one.
which was a good one. I mean, I have a ton of them that I've actually kept. I've figured out a way to keep them. They're on my most of them are on my other computer back in Pittsburgh that I got to get out here. But yeah, I used to do the same thing. I try to ask, always ask, "Hey, can you give me a station ID before you go, real quick?" And some were really cool, and then some of them went on, and then some were like Richie Havens, man. He picked up his guitar
Did a little
and he
song.
was, he liked the New York Vinnie thing so much, he was like singing it. Oh man.
Well, he was a New York kid. It made perfect sense to him. It was right up his alley.
Yeah. I think that's exactly right.
Did you
Yeah,
ever?
so that's our show tomorrow, 8 o'clock on 1150 KKNW, 8 in the morning. And we'd be glad to have you come along for the ride. We'll also talk about the car I'm driving this week, the Kia Sportage X model.
I think that's what my daughter just got,
Oh, really?
because they, if you remember back in the summer, they totaled their car,
Yeah.
and I think they got a Sportage. Hey,
Yeah.
by the way, here's a question for you:
Okay.
Is a car totaled if the interior bags go off? Is that how they draw the line?
No, it's 80% of the value of the car. Or if there's a structural damage on the car that, in the opinion of the appraiser, the appraiser feels that the car cannot be safely repaired. So if you get, usually it's the crumple zones. If
Yeah,
the crumple zones are hit hard enough, um, and the car is not, $100,000 car, then they'll total a car. With the value of cars these days, though,
it's hard to
you have
total
to
it.
watch it, because
Yeah.
you have to get to 80%, maybe 75, and you can call it a constructive total loss, which means that you feel that the damages on the unseen damages that you can't tell, plus what you can see already, will exceed the 80% limit of the car. And if a car has high salvage value, then you can exceed that. You can go lower than that 80% limit because they can sell the car for more at auction. And then they don't have a situation where they pay for the car to get fixed. The car doesn't get fixed right. You turn around and sue the insurance company.
They don't want that. It's just easier to tear this one up.
In terms of liability, because then the car gets a salvage title, and anybody who buys the car after that and either rebuilds it will always have that salvage title, where a consumer should be aware that the car was in a serious wreck.
This frame was once decommissioned, rebuilt, and now it's back on the market.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not always. I mean, it could be a theft, could be a flood car,
or a death.
I mean, it's all. I mean, that's why you have to always watch a title when you buy a car. But yeah, usually the guideline is 80%. They'll replace the airbags in a car. It's not hard to do. It's a unit, and actually, if your airbags go off, you're better off getting them replaced because the airbags in a lot of these cars have the metal shavings on them.
Ooh.
So you have to be, you have to watch that recall list and make sure that your airbags get replaced. But no, that doesn't automatically.
Remember, folks, Vinnie always says, get air for your tires, properly inflate your tires, and change your oil more often than the factory recommends.
And check to make sure that your car is not on the airbag recall list, because the last thing you want in a collision is a face full of metal flying at you.
What happened to the airbags? Oh, they were recalled. I knew there was something I was going to tell you. That was it.
Yeah, you said as you get a metal shard going through your neck or your face or your eye. I mean, a number of people have been killed or injured.
And the Dodgers are going to have airbag night, and they invited everyone in the industry except the people who actually make the airbags. That was a mistake.
Except the people from Takata. They decided that the Takata people cannot come to the ballpark that night.
The Sisters of Perpetual Takata. No, not having them. Not having them around here anywhere near me.
All right, listen. Where are the Giants this week?
They're starting a series.
And I should say. They are. Oh, they're home. They play the Marlins. And you got a guy named DeScalfani pitching for you.
Yeah, he's had a good season so far. We got 3 games with Miami, and then the Minnesota Twins come to San Francisco. No, then the Giants go to Minnesota to play in the Twin Cities against the Twins.
And then the old people show up because the Giants used to have a farm club there.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So they used to. So before the Twins, so 3 or 4 of the people who probably went to the what was it, the Minneapolis Millers, or was it the St. Paul Saints? It was the Minneapolis Millers, wasn't it?
I think it was. Then they had them in Tacoma, they had them in Fresno, they had them in San Jose. They're not wedded to one town traditionally. The Giants farm club will be just about anything. I don't even know where AA is anymore. I can't recall.
Well, neither are the A's. The A's don't seem to be wedded to one town either. I mean, Philadelphia to Kansas City, to Oakland,
and now they
Las Vegas.
But have they got a deal?
Yeah, they got a deal. Yeah, what did they say? $1 billion ballpark they're going to build there, 30,000 capacity.
And then 400,000 of it has to come from private investors or the city or the state, and that's penciled in, but it's not accounted for yet. So if half your bill is not spoken for, I'd say you don't have a deal.
I got to tell you, man, that it is extremely difficult in today's climate to see a municipality paying for a ballpark. But especially in Vegas, I mean, they're building it, I guess, on the site of the old dunes, which is
Tropicana.
Is it Tropicana? Is it Trop?
Right on the
Yeah, right
drag.
on the strip. I mean, I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that municipalities would chip in money at this point to build ballparks when the Major League Sports is making so much money
And
hand over fist.
The A's don't look all that good on paper. I mean, you're not bringing in the Boston Red Sox to play ball in your town. You are not bringing in that kind of a draw.
Yeah,
And
they may eclipse the Mets this year as the worst team in baseball ever.
ever
Ever. Ever.
worse than the Washington Senators.
No, before that it was the Cleveland Spiders.
Ooh,
Was the worst. And then the Mets won 40 and 120 in their initial season. And
I had to give up Hobie Landreth for that.
and I think the A's are on track for like a 30 what is it, 38 wins or something like that. I mean, they're really bad and nobody's really upset about it because the fans in Oakland have basically
they put themselves into this situation, and now they expect what? They expect us to miss them.
Yeah, they're 10 and 35.
There was a Fox baseball game on last weekend, and it was the A's against the Texas Rangers, played in Oakland. And seeing Bruce Bochy in a Texas uniform managing the Texas Rangers was otherworldly. It was not right. It just was not right at all.
Yeah, there's something weird about that, and it's like looking at Babe Ruth in a Boston Braves uniform.
Yeah,
It just doesn't look. It doesn't have a good look to it. It's your memory of him is so ensconced in Padres and Giants.
Yep.
That you look at him and you're like, what the hell happened here?
I don't know why he did it.
Money, probably.
Money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you well, I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of guys that do it because they get off the road here and they miss the road.
Yeah.
They truly just they go home and they haven't been home in 40 years. And all of a sudden they're in the house and the old lady is telling them, get the hell out. Go do something else. Go. And the juice really isn't there for them. Some guys go home and that's it. They go in their gardens. They go to a baseball game every week or two or something like that, and they're okay. But there's some guys that get home, man, and
nope, not for me.
Yeah, it's nice that we have kids, but they're grown. It's nice that you're here, but I don't know you. I've been gone for so long. Things work out better for us when I'm gone.
Yeah.
So maybe they just, and if somebody comes along and waves a couple of million in their face to run a franchise, and they say, why not? What am I doing here? They love that life on the road.
And a couple million a year.
And a couple of million a year to leave to your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, contrary to popular belief, many people believe that you cannot have enough money. That you must.
In fact, the numbers are growing all the while. The more you have, the more you need. Do you think Elon Musk has enough money? Ask him. He doesn't.
Expenses.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough money to get him to Mars, which is where he wants to go.
And I hope he goes there soon.
There's many people who would agree with you, Michael. There's a lot of people who would love to see him shuffle off this mortal coil.
He's going to claim Mars when he gets there on behalf of the Elon Musk Greater Limited Corporate Entity.
We have, it says something about our lives when the rich people no longer want to help people on Earth, but take their money and use it to get off of Earth and go somewhere else.
Not helping you or foreign-born Johnny Ola and foreign-born Warren Oates. Who's the kid? Who's the actor? I'm trying to think of. George Soros. There we go.
Oh, George Soros. Yes, foreign-born
George
Fern.
Soros. He's Fern. He was born Fern, and he's still Fern, and his name's George Soros. Always
Well,
remember that.
you know
Work it
what
into
their
the
motto is.
conversation. I was foreign born.
No, you're not
in the
from
USA.
here.
Oh yeah,
You're not from here, so how could you know? All right, Mikey, you got big plans for the weekend?
George Santos is coming over. We're having tuna fish sandwiches.
Is Marjorie Taylor Greene going to stand outside of your door and holler and scream?
We gave it some thought. It doesn't work out when she's around food being served. It's just two things don't go together that well. People don't want to eat and they just lose their appetite and all that money for the caterers. So she's not invited. We don't have her around food.
Why do I think she smells like tobacco?
Ew, ashtray.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do I think that her scent that she leaves
Ashtray
is 1960s ashtray.
Yes.
With cheap cigarettes in it as opposed to Arpège or Lanvin or Jean Naté.
What was that cigarette that Sinatra used to smoke that was half pipe tobacco, 50-50 or something?
Oh, not English Ovals, right?
No.
I don't remember.
They don't make them any longer.
Not Galoisis? Galoisis?
Galois.
I was one with Galoisis. But I wasn't buying them anymore, so
I smoked some Galois before I quit, that's for sure.
Some Galois. Thank you for straightening me out on that. Who knew?
Well, you weren't there.
Well, that's why I went to the store and said Galoisis, and the guy said, "What are you talking, Galoisis?"
No, I don't know. We're fresh out, okay?
Man, I think that's where I got that from. Is somebody went into admiration, and I was standing there, and they said Galoisis. Give me a packet of French cigarettes, the Galois.
The blue ones, the Galois.
And on that note, Michael, take care of yourself. See you. Oh, I'm not going to be here Monday.
Okay. We'll see you on Wednesday.
See you Wednesday. I have
an important engagement.
Starting my dental journey on Monday.
Good for you. I know you're excited about that.
Yeah, so excited that I have tranquilizers to get me through it.
Yeah, it ain't easy.
Yeah, I'm going over to the University of Washington.
Is it too late to go somewhere else?
No, they said to listen. Don James sat in this chair, so you can too.
So it's not really a chair; it's just like the front seat to a Camaro.
Exactly, Billy Joe Hobart's Camaro. All right, buddy. I will see you Wednesday. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you, Ben.
All right, see you, Mikey.